Happy autumn, ladies. My name is Marin, for those of you who are new here, and I want to welcome you all to Thankful Thriftiness. It is full-blown fall here in Michigan. The trees are almost at their peak of color, and I can't wait for all the red trees to turn, because trees tend to turn in color, so it seems to be the yellows first and the oranges, reds, and browns. It's just kind of how it goes for those of you who don't live in colder regions. What is your favorite part about fall? Let me know in the comments below. Today's video is inspired by fall. I'm going to share with you 3 fall-inspired meals that I think you're going to love. Now, a little FYI, I film meals for videos as I make them. I don't sit down one day and make 3 meals just for the video, okay? My time budget, nor does my financial budget allow for that. So I have been working on this video for like a month now, and I'm finally able to compile it all into one. The 3 recipes I'm going to be sharing with you today are stuffed apples, sweet potato gnocchi with cauliflower Alfredo, and crock pot chicken and dumplings, which is actually going in the crock pot for dinner right now. For the recipes today, I'm going to link as many of them as I can down below. There will be recipes for everything, but not always the recipes that I used. For the cauliflower Alfredo, that's actually my mom's recipe, and I don't know where exactly it came from, so I don't really feel comfortable sharing something unless it's like a public recipe on Pinterest or something. So I will link a cauliflower Alfredo recipe from Pinterest down below for you. For the stuffed apples, you're going to begin by coring and scraping out the innards of several apples, depending upon how many you're making. You can use Granny Smith. I used Gala because that's what I had, and it turns out wonderful either way. It just depends upon your preference. Next, you're going to prepare a box of store-bought stuffing mix. This is a really easy recipe, so yes, we're using store-bought stuffing mix. I think I used Walmart brand. You could use Stovetop. It's really up to you. And if you want to go for it and make it yourself, go right ahead. To the stuffing, add some chopped cooked chicken breasts and dried cranberries. I think dried cherries would also be really wonderful in this recipe. Cranberries are what I had, and they're way less expensive. You can cook your chicken however you want. Really, this is a super loose recipe. I don't even know if I'd measure if I were you. I just kind of start throwing things in there, taste it, see what tastes good. It's really based upon preference. Some people would prefer more of the cranberries, less. Just figure out what works for you and go with it. Place your cored apples in a baking dish. I used my cast iron skillet, but you could use whatever. And then fill the apples with your stuffing mix. Then bake your apples at 350 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes until the apples are cooked through. This recipe would be super wonderful if you added gravy to it. I didn't think of that until just now, but it would be a really nice addition if you choose to do so. For the sweet potato gnocchi with the cauliflower Alfredo sauce, first of all, I actually came up with this idea a little while back, and my husband, bless his heart, was game enough to try it. For this recipe, I'm just going to link some Pinterest recipes down below and show you what I did. The sweet potato gnocchi was pretty easy to make. I was surprised. It was a much looser dough than I imagined, so it didn't get quite the iconic gnocchi look to it, but it was so delicious, and Griffin was a trooper to try it, and he actually really liked it. I filmed this recipe in a hurry because I had an actual, very patient, but very hungry man waiting for dinner. When in doubt, add more bacon. Bacon in that meal is a necessity, and it's so, so delicious. If you make a cauliflower Alfredo that involves Greek yogurt, it'll add a nice extra tang that pairs perfectly with the sweetness of the potato and the saltiness of the bacon. Fun fact, my blender broke right in the middle of making this video, so yeah, it's not the sauce's fault, it's just, I guess, a cheap blender. So yeah, but I was able to thankfully blend it smooth enough before that happened. I'm sure someone's done this before, I'm sure I didn't invent it, but I felt pretty good when something I at least thought I came up with tasted pretty good. The flavor profiles all worked together really nicely. Last but certainly not least is tonight's dinner. Chicken and dumplings made in the crock pot. This is one of my new absolute favorites to both cook and to eat afterwards. This recipe also doesn't have exact measurements either because I started on a recipe in a cookbook and I just found that you can kind of add what you want, do what you want, and it's not gonna mess it up too much. 6 hours before you intend to eat your crock pot chicken and dumplings, combine inside your crock pot half of a chopped onion. I used a whole onion, it's up to you. I also added mushrooms. You could add really any vegetable you want to, just make sure it's not one that turns mushy quickly in the crock pot. Then add chicken breasts. I added 2, I feel like the ratio in this recipe of dumplings to chicken is a little off, probably too many dumplings from the recipe I'm basing this off of. So I would recommend maybe 3 chicken breasts and 1 can of biscuits, but it really depends upon how much you want your meat to carb ratio to be. Stir this mixture together and cook it on high for 6 hours. I'll demonstrate the next part for you because it's actually time to do it. Now I'm going to quarter 2 cans of biscuits and add them to the crock pot. I would recommend doing 1 can of biscuits if it's just a few people eating, but when you're trying to feed a crowd, adding 2 cans really helps. And yes, we do have someone coming over tonight, and this should help stretch the meal just a little bit further. An hour and a half later, this delicious meal will be ready to enjoy. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope it's inspired you to try some delicious autumn food and maybe even coming up with your own autumn flavor profiles. Let me know in the comments below, what's your favorite fall time meal? Have a wonderful rest of your day, ladies, and happy cooking.